All right, so this next project that you guys are going to be working on, being that you guys have tackled some coding bat and methods, is to start plugging it into something useful. So we are going to add a little bit of code. You guys are going to start learning about game loops. So the first one that you guys are going to implement is called the do while loop, which I have videos. If you go into the classwork section for loops, that is where they'll be. You're looking up the video for do while loop. Now, what we ultimately want to happen, and you can go and see the demo of how I'm running the program, showing what I'm expecting. Now, in building this, you are going to have to use two do while loops. One loop, so let's call it the game loop, and I'm going to use brackets to show what it's including. The game loop is ultimately going to be setting up your initial starting values, okay, and get you into the game. Inside of that, you are going to end up having your logic loop. Inside of a logic loop is where you have the main components of your game running. So for a number guessing game, we ultimately need to take a guess from the user. And what we want to do with our game is we're looking at, we have already picked a value. We are taking a guess from them. We're checking if it's too high, if it's too low, or if they guessed it. So we take a guess, check if too high, and if it is, print too high. Check if it's too low, print it's too low. If they guessed it right, then we want to check if right, if correct, print some type of congratulatory phrase. Congratulate them. You want to give them some feedback. Okay. And then that would spit it out. So this logic loop only runs when the answer is incorrect. Okay? For this game. If we were doing this in terms of like an actual game, we might be playing until the player has run out of lives or the health has reached 0. If either one of those happens, then we are kicking out of our logic loop and then allowing them to either restart the game or, reset to a checkpoint. So we're checking our stuff. Now this right here is going to be a method. You are going to have to generate a method. Now this is going to be a public static string method. Remember, it has to be outside of the main loop. You're going to call it guess feedback. You're going to take two inputs, a guess and the answer. That is for that round. You're going to find out and give the feedback for too high, too low, or congratulate them. If they are correct, then you're coming out to your main game loop. Okay, and the main game loop, then if you are going to implement additional features like score, then you could tally the score, or you're going to do the very basic, which is asking them, do you want to play again? Now we use a do while loop because we're going to start the game whether they want to play or not, and once they finish the game, then they can choose to continue to stay in the loop. Now if we wanted to implement, so this would be additional features 1, additional features inside this logic loop. We could, for running, we could run when the answer is incorrect or there are still turns left. Okay, and we could start the turns, so the initial starting value, turns, could start at 0. And every time that they take a turn, or we could start at 5, and every time we're in the loop, if they are wrong, so here turns could be -1, or if they're too low, we could do turns is -1, and then we check at the end of the while loop. So if they have 0 turns, then we spit them out. Okay, that would be additional feature 1. Additional feature 2 is you have this main game loop. You can ask, so if you did this as maybe a continue playing loop, and then we have a game loop outside of here, which is encasing this, then we could look at possibly initially starting up with an initial score. So we could say score is equal to 0. And then we can ask them if they want to play again in this loop, but if they have, let's say, they got the number right, so they guess correctly, then we could add 1 to the score and improve some functionality, add additional feature. If they got it wrong, maybe we take something from their score. Okay, and then they choose not to play again, so that would bring us out to this main game loop now, is we can say thanks for playing. We could print this, print thanks for playing. Your high score was, and then we could print what that score was, that variable. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that we could stretch this to build out some functionality with the game, whether it's just looking at doing a game loop, adding additional feature for tracking turns, or adding an additional feature that is tracking turns and giving a score every time that they get it right within the allotted amount of turns. Okay, so basic again is only when the answer is incorrect. Basic is only this. Using 2 do while loops, a game loop, a logic loop, using 1 method, and the random number generator. Okay? All right. Good luck. Have fun. Make sure you guys are watching the videos. Don't waste your time on not getting this done. You should have 4 commits. You're going to have the 1 freebie commit. 1 freebie commit. When you initially create it, you're going to do 1 commit with all IntelliJ files. And then you are going to have another 3 commits. Those 3 commits are going to be built from, one's going to be the method that you're instituting, one's going to be your game loop, and one's going to be your logic loop completely set up. Okay, so that brings it to a total of 5 commits for this project. Okay, I will have the rubric displayed in case you guys have any questions, but this is pretty clear about what you need to be doing. If you're unsure about what the basic requirements are, again, go ahead and watch the demo. I'm walking through exactly what I want. There should be an infinite amount of times that they could guess, not a whole bunch of if and else if statements. you are using loops. All right, good luck. Have fun.